for the release of the Burning Crusade.
Waiting for the World of Warcraft expansion to come out.
Do you guys play together?
No, we play different servers. He's Forward, I'm Alliance.
Oh, that's like separate bedrooms.
Wait until she levels up so I can kill her.
We knew what a magnitude it would be, but, honestly didn't think it would be this big of a line.
There's a bunch of noobs here. I can see them.
Have your receipts ready, I'll make it go faster.
You know, I'm looking forward to the new Alliance race.
New levels, new weapons.
Flying mounts, new professions, new races.
I'm looking for World PvP because I hate Horde, so I kill Horde when I see Horde.
The Horde!
I think I'm looking forward to my little pet that I'm going to get when I get the collector's edition.
I wanted the pet.
If someone doesn't play WoW, what do you say to convince them?
I really didn't have to say much. I got him into WoW. I got like 7 of my friends into WoW. My ex-girlfriend, emphasis on the ex.
I wouldn't talk to them if they don't play WoW.
It feels great.
So who's hotter, the Night Elves or the Blood Elves?
Oh, the Blood Elves.
Blood Elves.
Night Elves. Night Elves.
I would say that the Night Elves are probably 17.334% hotter than the Blood Elves, repeating, of course.
My main is a Tauren Shaman. His name's Thangor. That's what I'm talking about. He's a elemental, so he's really into doing a lot of damage for as much as he can. I have an Orc Hunter. I have a Troll Rogue, and I have an Undead Mage. So I like doing a lot of damage.
I got tomorrow off of work, and I got today off of work to level all day, and tomorrow off of work. So tonight I'm gonna buy it, go set it up, and play all night long.
I gotta work at 7. I'll probably play right up until I get to work.
All night until school in the morning.
Yeah, I got the laptop in the car so I can load it on the way, in all honesty.
I don't know. I'm just install it and just try to get maybe up to level 62 or something. It's probably gonna take a while, but however long it takes.
I think people are afraid of how powerful we are, because if we were to unite, which we already have, and begin to take over the world, I think 8 million people now, I think that the world would be in for a big surprise when 900 shaman come running over that mountainside, you know what I'm saying?
There's a collector's edition on the back. Yeah, you got yourself the DVD collection with behind-the-scenes stuff. You get the soundtrack from the game. You get the art of the game. You get a collector's edition card pack. And the reason why I came, the Netherwell pet. Free map with every purchase.
Tell me about your most epic quest or battle to date.
Raiding this girl's molten core.
I've heard some of the women I know that play complaining that the new female character models promote an unrealistic standard of beauty. There's no reason for, a supernatural adventure to have birthing hips. It's just no reason.
I'm gonna do an impression of my paladin, and one thing that I love about the paladin is healing. I get to heal my friend. They just do this with holy, I don't know, bubbles, and boom.
I've been waiting long enough. 10.5-hour shift of work, 6-hour wait for the game. It's a good day.
I just bought one, but I bought everything else. The binder, the book. No, I'm going to go home, install it, take a shower, log on, try to claim some names.
I'm very psyched.
What would get you to stop playing? I don't want to stop. Why would I want to stop?
I'm going to the dark portal! Woo! I'm almost level 61!
Very excited to play this. I've been waiting.
How long are you going to play for?
All night. All week maybe. All week.
You don't have to work tomorrow?
Work. There's no such thing as work with WoW.
brought you to this end. Take my blood and choke on it.
Death to the outsiders.
I'll turn your world upside down.
You are not prepared.
Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you can hear me okay. Welcome back to the Dark Portal, your sometimes weekly Burning Crusade Classic dedicated talk show or podcast or whatever you want to call it. Audio check, chat. Hopefully you can hear us all right. Today we are going to do for you the highly anticipated and sought after Hunter Deep Dive. You guys have been asking for it, and here it is. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, per usual, Crix. Lord Crixus, how we doing, my friend?
Dude, fantastic, my friend. How you doing, brother? I'm doing great. I'm hyped up for this Hunters. I hate them, but we're good. I hate them, but here we are.
Yeah, definitely.
My mortal enemy.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you back, man. Congrats on all your success on the channel recently, Crix. You've been blowing up, rightfully so. You've been putting in that work, man. You love to see it.
Thank you.
And then also joined by Leox. So Leox is a big brain hunter. He helped me with my hunter leveling guide. Raided with Crix, I believe, for a bit and get carried. Leox, how you doing, man?
Good. I'm good. I'm excited for TBC. Playing the class that Crix hates because he doesn't like being second on DPS, but that's what's going to happen with Warlocks and Hunters.
Oh, there we go. Yep, and we'll get into that. We'll get into as much as we can get through. There's a lot to get through. So thanks for joining us, guys. And we're gonna get right into the slides, pretty much. We'll do like some intros for Leox first, though, before we get into the meat and potatoes. Actually, let's start with that. Leox, my friend, just to warm you up to the chat, so people get to know you a little bit, and maybe just your experience with the game, kind of like how you got up to this point. If you could be so kind to just share your history with the game.
Started playing original vanilla back when I was 8 years old. My dad got me into the game. Kind of played here and there all the way up through End of Wrath. Kind of quit, came back in Warlords. Then kind of just been in and out of WoW up until Classic came out. That's where I met Crix. Had to heal his bum ass through some Classic stuff.
Hell yeah, you were in Invictus, right, on Skyrim. That's what Crix was saying. You must have been in
Yep,
the
I was
raid
in
group.
Invictus, then we moved over to lowercase. Then actually went over to Endless and found a TBC guild there. And Crix was saying he wanted to get into some TBC stuff, so I got him in touch with the GM, and that's how we got here today.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, very nice. Would you say TBC is your favorite iteration of the game? And maybe it's not. Just because you're playing it now doesn't mean doesn't mean it's your favorite. How do you feel about it?
It's definitely tied with Wrath for me, just because that was like the childhood.
For sure. Now I'm sorry. There's a couple cringe icebreaker questions. Usually get people through. One of them is I guess since we're on the topic of hunters, like what draws you to Hunter, if anything? What do you think like their biggest strength and weakness would be, just generally speaking?
What really drew me to Hunter was just the top DPS. You wanna look good on the numbers. You wanna play Hunter. As soon as you get into late game in TBC, Hunter's getting enough armor pen that you're pretty much two-shotting people in BGs, which I love doing. Yeah, pretty much Hunter it's the top DPS. You don't have to do all those melee mechanics, since TBC bosses are melee friendly up until T6. Yeah, so pretty much was the easy choice, and the guild needed a Hunter, and I was like, all right, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm. So, yep, I think a lot of people are kind of in that boat, right? If you, I noticed Frost was leveling a hunter, Guzu leveling a hunter. A lot of people are shifting that direction, whereas in Classic, they're kind of seen as, to some people's mind, the weakest DPS class. You know, you always take him, even in Axe and stuff, right? But so
yeah, Hunter is definitely the Fury or definitely the warrior of TBC.
Very nice. Very nice. So what would you say, like, the Hunter's biggest, like, strength and weakness? I guess you were kind of alluding to damage on that side, just raw damage. Maybe any weaknesses or anything come to mind? Could be PvE, could be PvP.
Biggest weakness in PvP, you don't have really any way to escape outside of, you know, being a Night Elf Hunter on Alliance side, you know, Shadow Meld. Outside of that, you're pretty much locked to whatever damage your pet can do if you're facing a melee heavy comp. Yeah, it's pretty much for PvP. For PvE, only real downside is don't forget your arrows. You don't want to be that guy that's meleeing the boss midway through Illidan.
Mm-hmm.
Take a note from Crix, have to go do a sneak attack behind Illidan.
Good times. Very good times.
Gotcha. Okay, well, yo, thanks for sharing that. There's a lot to cover here. I'll pull up the slides again, and we can just start chipping away at it. And guys, also in the chat, you know, feel free if you have any questions or anything. If anything sticks out, Crix is usually scanning the chat pretty good. If you guys ask any hard hitting questions, anything interesting comes up, we can shoot it over to Leox. Okay, so we went over guest introductions. We usually kick it off with class changes. So take a deep breath, clear your mind, think about talents, think about new abilities. We'll think about playstyle changes, just maybe mentality changes, anything going. Because you played, did you touch Hunter in Classic at all? No, I don't think so, right? You're playing it.
I looked at it a little bit while Crix was trying to do his hardcore stuff. But besides that, I didn't play Hunter in Classic. But you know, our guild Classic Hunters have been talking to me and stuff. The really biggest thing is you get steady shot. That is just a bread and butter. Like, you want to nuke something down, steady shot. That is your new aim shot.
Now, people talk about steady shot with relation to like the one shot macro, right? But like, maybe people don't fully understand the whole story behind steady shot. I mean, so you value steady shot even outside of the one shot macro. Like, you see that ability and you get excited about it even just at face value. But, you know.
Yeah.
Even
if you're not using the one shot macro, your steady shot is what your pretty much your entire rotation is based around. Except you don't want to clip your auto shot with your steady shot. They're both just as important as each other. Like, if you were to look at one of our DPS logs or DPS meters from any of our BT fights, steady shot and auto shot are pretty much 50% of your damage.
Gotcha. Literally, you see it, steady shot, auto shot, and then, you know, multi shot gets 0.01.
You got your opening aim shot.
Right, and that's a big glass change. The idea that anybody play Hunter in the chat, type something, or play a Hunter, maybe main a Hunter, played one in Classic. That's a change moving into TBC. Aim shot is your bread and butter in Classic, right? It deals the most damage, and even in TBC, it still does do more damage pound for pound than a steady shot, I would imagine. But something happens here that it no longer becomes your bread and butter. Is it? If it doesn't hit as hard, is it just the mana efficiency of it?
It hits as hard, but you figure aim shot is a 3-second cast versus your steady shot, which is, you know, the 1.5 second cast.
Gotcha.
Really, the only time you ever use aim shot is on pull for that, you know, big hit for the aggro for the tank with your misdirection. Another amazing change to TBC.
For sure, another amazing one in general. Also, I guess on that note with aim shot too, there is, you know, in PvP it's used a bit. There's a mortal strike effect to it added to it. That's not in Classic at all. So that's just one class change, just freestyling here. Now in PvE too, sometimes I don't know if you do this to Leox too, but if there's like a mob that heals in a dungeon or something, you'll pop it with a name shot.
But generally, you leave that up to your survival hunter because they're already the support.
Right. So I have a few slides from our Hunter leveling guide that are still coming handy here too as well. I played quite a bit of Hunter in Classic, so can help out on this side too. You can now use traps in combat. What's that, Crix?
Yep.
You've dungeoned. You play a little bit in TBC. Don't lie.
True. Yeah, we've been putting that work in a little bit. Okay, so you can use traps in combat. This is a huge one, man. I know you probably can't imagine not having traps in combat, Leox, but major pain point. It feels pretty bad in
traps in combat is huge, especially with fights like Morrigan. where you have where you have the murlocs that your prop pellets have to kite, be able to drop a frost, frost trap.
And this also enables, I think we were talking about this before, and we can talk about again later, that there's kind of an infinite value loop of kiting with like frost trap and stuff too. If you space it out properly, like you have to put one down way in advance, have people have travel time to it or something. Or no, you put a frost trap down way in advance. The mobs get slowed on it, right? Then you go max range, put another one, and you can kind of like chain them into each other if you space them out far enough. I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing is you can't, if the first one hasn't been triggered yet, and you put that second one down, that first one's going to disappear.
Right. So traps in combat's huge. There's also another trap, Snake Trap, which has some cool niche uses in PvE. Also in PvP, man, some of the most nasty hunters that you fight in duels, not to say they're insane in duels or anything, they'll put that Snake Trap to work, man. It can. Oh
yeah, if you don't have the time to cast the aim shot, it's got the healing reduction, it's got the cast speed reduction.
Okay, another one is Dead Zone removed. So we'll blow through these. In Classic, there's a dead zone that refers to like a certain range in between melee and ranged. So you literally are just a bot, when they're in the dead zone. And people always talk about, dead zone kiting a hunter. In TBC, it's gone. You're always able to melee or shoot. Not to say you can shoot something if it's right in front of you. So no dead zone. That's exciting. Shared attributes with pets. Well, maybe we can ask Leox about this, man. How do pets work in TBC?
But the way that your pets work is it gets a portion of your stats now. So say you have 1,000 agility, your pet now gets a flat portion of that. So basically the more gear you get, the stronger your pet is. And for when you get above 30% crit, and you're fighting a boss with like lowish armor, or highish armor, you'll use a Wind Serpent, and its lightning breath actually scales off of your ranged attack power.
So sick, man. Attack power converting into spell damage. Insane. Yeah. I was wondering this too, so there could be a potential downside of shared attributes with pets too. First of all, it is very exciting that there's shared attributes in pets in general, right? In Classic, it feels kind of bad that, your Broken Tooth or the pet you're using phase 1 to clear MC on week 1 or something is as strong as he is phase 6 killing Kel'Thuzad. I mean, there's some differences in the sense maybe the buffs and stuff change and what your raid has access to, but the fact that they scale now is exciting. This also applies to Warlocks as well, right, Crix? The Warlock pets scale as well.
Yep. Well, it sure does.
So, but my thing is, what if you're wearing cloth gear, right? For some reason, you wouldn't, right? Let's just say leather, more practically. Would your pet be squishier than it would be normally? Would the pet armor scale down, I wonder?
The pet armor scales down, but it's so minimal that some leather is actually BIS. Come end game, and in BT, Cursed Vision. I mean, that's leather, and that's BIS.
Gotcha. Do you have a general idea of how much damage your pets do relative to you? Like what percentage? Because first of all, we'll get into this more, but like in Classic, your rating is marksmanship, and if you get deep Omega late game, especially if you have kings and stuff, you can reach that 1,000 agility benchmark. You can maybe go survival, but your pet's not doing too much damage. How much damage does it do in TBC?
In a perfect world, your pet's getting healed by the healers. You're keeping it out of stupid stuff. Your pet's going to be around 35% of your damage.
How much?
35%. It's quite a bit. That is quite a bit. And also, to build on that, there's a few new passives that your pets can train, which just aren't there in Classic, and one of them is, I think it's called Avoidance, is it, Leox?
Yeah, Avoidance is huge. That reduces the AoE damage that it takes.
Is it by 50, 75%? I'm trying to remember.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is. It's somewhere around 50, I think. Let me take a look.
Gotcha. Oh, I can probably pull it up on the, there. That's why we got this. Let's see here. Pets. Maybe I didn't train it. My bad. I got the Cobra Reflexes, though. This is another one that it's another passive available in TBC that they don't have in Classic. It's kind of weird, though. So you train this. It increases attack speed by 30%, but damage done is reduced. So you might think, oh, there's a trade-off. The damage done is reduced. Maybe you wouldn't train this. Maybe this is situational. But my understanding is you just always train this always, so it's kind of like weirdly designed. Everybody just trains this and it's a damage increase. Would you agree with that, or is there more to it, do you think?
100% you take it, because you got to remember that as BM, part of the reason that you have the BM100 is because of the 3% damage increase in your pet crits. That's off of melee crits too, so just regular white hits.
Gotcha. Okay, so also I guess to talk on the PvP side of things, your pet also does more damage on that side. Like, you're basically, you know, the meta specs for Hunter. I shouldn't say that. I mean, Season 1 you can go BM. I guess the meta spec is either it's usually marksmanship for Hunters in PvP. But on the BM side of things, your pets slap, man. Your pets do quite a bit of damage. Anyway, another thing too is Mend Pet. I think this is a really underrated change for Hunters, where in Classic you have like maybe a Mend Pet set, and like, basically if you decide to mend your pet in Classic, you're channeling, you're sitting there like this, you know, and you're just kind of sacrificing all of your damage to an extent. Maybe you have a Serpent Sting or something taken on, but it feels pretty bad just channeling that Mend Pet. In TBC, it's instant. It's almost like a renew that you're just putting on your pet right now. How do you feel about Mend Pet, Leox?
I mean, I personally like it because now you're able to heal your pet while you're DPSing.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, you can't really put together a set and, you know, do more healing towards your pet, but as long as you got the mana for it, and say like during Illidari Council, because of all the AoE that goes out, your healers aren't quite keeping your pet topped, being able to toss out the Mend Pet and then continue DPSing, that's, you know, one of the biggest things that I enjoy of the change.
Gotcha. I'm not sure if this is a correct line of play or not, but when I'm leveling a Hunter too, you know how if you're leveling a Priest, you just keep like a renew up. It's like the most efficient thing, even more than shield a lot of the time, just when you're fighting a mob. Like, you'll go in there with your Hunter pet, and you know you're gonna anticipate that damage. I think it ticks every 3 seconds with Mend Pet, so you know you can just throw the Mend Pet up like as you're going into combat with the pet, and just treat it kind of like a renew. It's a whole new mentality and relationship with the spell, and it feels really good, man. So we talked about the aim shot. There's probably a lot of other changes as well. Let's think maybe the final talent points. Here, I'll pull up the game. Let's see here. So in the Beast Mastery tree, we have the Beast Within. So it says when your pet is under the effects of Bestial Wrath, you also go into a rage, causing 10% additional damage, reducing mana cost of all spells by 20% for 18 seconds. While enraged, you do not feel pity or remorse or feel fear, and you cannot be stopped unless killed. Maybe you could explain to us this, Leox.
So pretty much it's mainly, you know, so at the start of the fight, you're gonna pop your Rapid Fire, your Bestial Wrath, your pet's now gonna do some major damage. You're gonna do a little bit of extra damage, and say there's a portion or part in the fight, whatever, at the start where you're gonna get feared. Well, now because you're in Bestial Wrath, you're not gonna get feared. But there's also fights where that's actually a big downside, like last boss, Lady Vash. In the third phase, at least on Endless, you were MC'd at portions randomly. Well, one of the things it would do is it would use your Bestial Wrath, and then you couldn't be CC'd by like the Warlocks and Mages.
Well, it's a wipe.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it would generally cause a wipe because now you're doing extra damage on top of the extra damage, and you're end up going to one-shotting any clothies.
Yeah, it's crazy. You one-shot me before once on Prague. Remember that?
Yeah.
I tried to death coil. He got BM'd. He couldn't, and he just one-shot.
And Crick's like, I death coiled him, and he's still getting busted.
Yeah. So one thing on the PvP side as well. So some of you in the chat, like this, maybe it's been a while since you played TBC. This is tied to your Bestial Wrath, so it's like you can't pop them independently or anything. It's baked into each other. But you may think, okay, you turn red, you're unfearable, right? But it's more than that. You're literally unstunnable as well. You're uncontrollable.
Unstunnable, unfearable. You can't be rooted. You can't be slowed.
Yep.
10% more damage, which is like shadow form, if you want to look at it that way.
So you or your pet are completely uninteractable for that duration. And in PvP, like in the deeper seasons, I tried running some BM on the Endless Arena server, and even though you don't do as much damage necessarily, even in full Bestial Wrath form as maybe some of the other classes, the real advantage Like, it almost seems like the biggest advantage of Bestial Wrath and Beast Within is that you are unCCable. So, like, you can just do whatever you want for that entirety, and the other team is pretty much just trying to survive while you're in this state.
Exactly. So, like, if you go BM for, like, Arena, that's pretty much, you know, you line up your CDs with your Arena partners, and you got those 18 seconds to try and get the kill.
Mm-hmm.
We tried that for a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's fun.
Okay, let's move into marksmanship. So we have the inclusion of Silencing Shot. This is a shot that deals 50% weapon damage and silences the target for 3 seconds on a 20-second cooldown. How do you feel about this ability?
I love playing marksman and using Silencing Shot, because the nice thing is that it's almost there. I mean, you know, like with any shot, the damage kind of shows up instantly. Well, the silence is instant too. So, you know, midway through your cast, you're not gonna have that travel time to then get the spell off, because I'm pretty sure they're getting rid of spell batching. But yeah, so, you know, you see the heal coming out, you know, they're gonna try and fake cast you. They fake cast that first one. Well, you saw that Silencing Shot, that next heal that's gonna come out as soon as you see it, you can use it, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you don't really use this in PvE, because I guess if you're a marksman, you're going to be in the. Is there any PvE builds for marksmanship, or is it something that people don't have to even think about?
For T4, before you get to 600 agility, because 500 agility, marksman actually, True Shot Aura provides more attack power than going survival does for your party.
Wow.
But the only downside is to your party. I'm pretty sure it's to your party and not to your entire raid, like exposed weaknesses.
Right. So would the point there be, like, you could raid at early stage as marks, or is it still exposed weakness ends up being better if you're that survival hunter type of role, you know?
I mean, you'll almost never go exposed weakness before 500 agility, but you should be over 500 agility and even pre-bis. Right now, people are over 500 agility in Classic, I'm pretty sure.
For sure. Some people are at 1,000. I guess you're fully buffed at that point, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Silencing Shot, for whatever it's worth, chat. I like survival a lot, and we'll get into survival in a second. I love Wyvern Sting, and survival's pretty sexy, right? But then I talk with a lot of hunters who are some of the highest rated on the Arena server, and they're just saying, I know survival seems cool, but marksmanship's better in practice. Like, there's a lot of undeads that can get out of this Wyvern Sting. Silencing Shot's a lot more, like, consistent, and when you run those drain teams where you're running like RD or something, HD, they're like 9 times out of 10 marksmanship with the Silencing Shot, and they're just kind of buying time, staying alive, being annoying. Silencing Shot, Viper Sting.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, and then moving on into survival, the 41-point talent is Readiness. When activated, this ability immediately finishes the cooldown on your other hunter abilities. Yeah, now you play mainly survival hunter in raids, do you, or do you not?
Yep, I do.
This is really, really valuable then. So you know this tree. You, like, live this tree. I am so interested.
The thing is, with Endless, you actually didn't take Readiness, because outside of resetting your rapid fire once for 5 minutes, you don't really get any use out of it. Because, I mean, the only other thing it's going to really reset is your Feign Death, which is a 30-second cooldown.
Gotcha. But you're saying... Yeah, sorry.
No, you're all good. But you got to figure, though, Endless fights, the private server was, 5 minutes to 20-minute fights. Whereas with Classic, just from looking at vanilla, the fights were 30 seconds at most. Readiness would be huge for something like that, where you get your rapid fire off, rapid fire finishes, you Readiness, now you get your second rapid fire. And that pretty much encapsulates the entire fight.
Mm-hmm. And it's all your other hunter abilities too, so it's not just rapid fire. Is there any other interesting, like, interactions with Readiness that come to mind at all? It's like a prep, basically. You know the rogue ability prep, guys? You basically have, like, hunter prep.
I mean, that's pretty much from a damage standpoint, that's pretty much the only thing you're going to use it for.
Yeah. I'll mention on the PvP side, I messed around with this, and again, it's probably not like some amazing build or anything, but I found it really fun, maybe in duels, and if you're going up against, like, a team, maybe at a lower MMR, or if they're not suspecting it, this can be really powerful. You can use Readiness to reset cooldown on Wyvern Sting as well, so it's so sick. You can literally Wyvern Sting, readiness, Wyvern Sting is like insta sleep, 12-second CC. It's on its own DR, completely separate from anything else in the game. The only problem with Wyvern Sting is, as you can see, after the sleep effect goes away, the control effect, it puts a dot on them. So what you have to do is you have to either put you have to pretty much only put a Scorpion Sting on them to remove that dot portion of the ability, and then you can re-Wyvern Sting them, or you can scatter them into a trap, but you have to do that first. But you know, Wyvern Sting is so powerful in that sense that they, as soon as they get within range at all, they're CC'd and there's really nothing they can do about it. But if they are undead, they can WOTF out of it. But that's a cool one as well. Another thing too is you get this ability Deterrence, which is on a 5-minute cooldown, increases dodges and parry chance by 25%. You have so much agility on a hunter that when you pop Deterrence, you actually are kind of a little bit beefy. Like, this is really your only defensive, and you'll have like a rogue or someone on you, and they'll just like stop mid-duel and be like, what the fuck, how are you so tanky? So you can Deterrence, and then once you do pop that readiness, you'll have Deterrence up again, and you'll be able to basically keep Deterrence up, through the entirety of that duel, or whatever.
Exactly. One fight in BT that's really fun for Deterrence is you're fighting Gertog, and you get chosen for like the Felon Rage. You pop Deterrence, and now you're just, you're going to be in melee, so you can't really shoot, but you're going to be popping off 5k Raptor strikes and just go into town in melee, and you're going to be pretty much untouchable.
Beautiful. And this isn't a 41-point talent, but this is a big deal. And this is it too dramatic to say this is why you bring a Survival Hunter, Leox?
So that is why you bring a Survival Hunter.
Okay, so 31-point talent, boys. Looking up here. Leox can maybe tell you the story of it. Expose weakness. Your ranged criticals have a 100% chance to apply an expose weakness effect to the target, increasing attack power of all attackers against that target by 25% of your agility for 7 seconds. Does that go up to 75% of your agility for 7 seconds, or does that component stay 25?
Stays at 25. The only thing that changes per point is the chance to apply it. So at 33, 66, 100.
Okay. Gotcha. Why is this so good, man?
Because it applies to your pets, it applies to other hunters, it applies to melee, it applies to your tanks. Anything that has anything that scales off of attack power is increased by it. So your tank you're going to get extra threat. Your pet's going to do more DPS. Your hunters are going to do more DPS. Melee love it. Tanks love it. Hunters love it.
Yep. And one thing in TBC, it's interesting. It's honestly a huge, massive quality of life upgrade. Is there no more difference between RAP and AP, right? Range attack power and attack power. Like when it comes to buffs and stuff like that. If you see attack power on something, like if you're a hunter, for example, you no longer have to worry about that. Like in Classic, how a lot of buffs didn't apply to you. Right?
Yeah,
All that stuff applies now.
If it increases attack power, it's going to increase both, unless specifically stated.
I see. So, Crix, from like a raid leading, GM type perspective, how valuable is this to you?
I'm bringing one at all times.
Really?
Bringing one. Yep, 3 BMs, 1 survival. You can, if you have a hunter heavy, you can go 4 BMs and 1 survival if you want.
So you can't cut the survival. Like you need the survival.
Yeah, I don't know about Leo. Probably would know better on T4. I know you don't need a breakpoint for agility to do it. I just know that you need more agility before you do it. Is there like an agility breakpoint where you're like, okay, like how I'd be Affliction and get enough hit and then switch over to whatever? Would you do the same thing? Is it like your BM and then you get enough agility and then switch to survival, or are you right away survival?
Well, if you're gonna mean T4, you already got the agility for it. But
there you go.
Nah, I would bring the Survival Hunter, unless there's only the 2 tanks, 1 other BM Hunter, and you're probably not gonna have the Survival Hunter if you're gonna be caster heavy.
Yeah.
I see. So if you're caster heavy, you can cut them. Okay. Somebody did mention that Wyvern Sting shares DR with traps. It does not. That's why it's so exciting at the same time. It is a separate DR from the traps. Separate DR from the traps. It's on its own DR. I promise. Go to the arena server and try it if you don't believe me. But it's that's one of the things that makes it so powerful. There might be some other random different classes ability that maybe shares on with Wyvern Sting. I've to my understanding, I've never seen one yet so far, and I've asked around a bit, and everybody thinks it's on its own DR. Anyway,
the only thing I could probably maybe see it be on a DR with is blind from rogues, because I'm pretty sure they're both counted as poisons.
You don't Wyvern Sting?
Yeah, Wyvern Sting. It's possible, or maybe like even in Hibernate or something. Those kind of weird off.
Yeah. Sleep? Is it a sleep? Yeah.
It's a sleep. Yeah.
Maybe Succubus Charm, but how often are you gonna see that?
See, but that's a charm.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That magic dust stuff.
Yep. Okay. So, okay, the other thing about exposed weakness, this used to be a set bonus on, I believe, tier 2, was it? Chat?
Yep.
Yeah,
The Dragon Slayer.
So it was a
Dragon Slayer, Dragon Stalker.
Dragon Stalker. It was so like important to the raid in theory, I guess, from Blizzard's perspective, that they were like, man, we should just make this, part of the class. So they turned it into survival. So how do you feel on a broader note, Leox, about how do you feel about all three specializations, Beast Mastery, Marksmanship, and Survival? Do you think they all each have their place in the meta across everything, or?
For PvE, I mean, it's pretty clear. It's going to be BM with the one Survival. If you want to for fun, because I mean, Marks is really fun to see really big numbers. You can go Marks, but then you lose a lot of that damage you would gain from having the pet. So damage more comes from you at that point. But in a PvP standpoint, the meta, I mean, Marks and BM, Survival is going to have its uses because it has a lot of control.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think those double healer, the threes, the double healer hunter, I think that's Survival, right? Or not Marksman?
I've never done double healer.
Yeah, that's the meta right now. That just won the Landers tournament.
I think it's Marksman.
Oh, man.
I actually haven't seen any Survival Hunters in the arena. Like, I wanted to make it work, and I initially went Survival, and then kind of some Hunters chewed me out and were like, dude, you got to go Marks. And I was like, feels bad, man. There could be some.
The only Hunter I've ever seen playing Survival was on Endless. There's a hunter named Dark Legolas, and they were one of the first gladiators on the server.
Oh,
they were
wow.
playing Survival for 2s and 3s.
Wow.
He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Trying to think of any other changes. We can always revisit it. Chat, opening it up to you guys. Think of any more changes with the hunter in TBC. I mean, I guess we can talk about some of the new abilities too for a second. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, so pet system has been revamped. There are many new pet breeds to tame with new abilities, so that's true. There's the the warp stalker that blinks. To my understanding, I don't really see hunters use those. Also, attack speed is normalized to 2.0 seconds. That's an interesting
so
one.
like your broken tooth isn't going to be, the fast attacking anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's a big one. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. Kind of feels bad. I guess it's kind of interesting when you have pets with different attack speeds. I don't know why they did that. Maybe it's good. Also, you no longer die when Feign Death finishes channeling. The biggest change of them all. You'll love to see it. That actually killed a guy in Hardcore Cricks. He AFK'd.
I don't know what that means. I don't know anything about hunters. I never played one.
If you let your Feign Death finish channeling, that long-ass, 5-minute channel, you actually die in Classic. Yeah, and some guy lost the Hardcore challenge because of it.
Stupid hunters, man.
Tracks persist through death. You'll love to see it. But yeah, Misdirect that we talked about. Oh, maybe you could explain Misdirect, Leox, and how it works. I'll pull it up in the game.
Most important thing about a hunter has damage right there.
Right. So the way that it works is your first 3 shots after you use misdirection on your target are going to transfer all the threat from those 3 shots to your target. So if you MD your tank and you use aim shot, distracting shot, and then you wait and use your aim shot again, or you wait for your distracting shot to come back up, that's going to be probably the biggest amount of threat that you'll get to transfer to your tank.
Yup. Is it something even mid-boss fight? Are you using it on cooldown, or is it only on the pull, Leox?
Oh, unless you want to hear your raid leader yelling at you, you're going to use it mid-pull, you're going to use it on CD, because, outside of hunters, not a lot of classes besides rogues, and, warlock every 5 minutes have a way to drop their threat or half it. I guess mages can invis, and that'll drop their threat too.
I see. Also, on another note, in a TBC raid, are you in Classic, for example, during speed runs, hunters are still going out and fishing all the mobs and kind of dictating the ebb and flow of the run. Does that carry over into TBC as well? Or are you still the person pulling everything?
Yeah. So what you do is you throw up your misdirect and say it's a 3-pack. You're going to actually end up multi-shotting instead of distracting shot or aim shot, and that's going to get threat on all 3 of them. It's going to suck because it's going to use up all 3 of your charges of your MD, but that's one of the ways that you can, give your tank a little bit of extra threat on multiple targets.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a great.
And it's used on cooldown too. That's you're using it during the boss pools too.
It feels really good, guys. Misdirect is one of TBC, you'll notice this just in TBC in general. They took some of the shortcomings or some of the things that were rough around the edges with the classes and the specs, and they just polished them up a bit, man. Misdirect feels really freaking good. You feel useful using it. Looks cool, feels good. You know, in a dungeon, you know, it allows your tank to like go into a weird spot, and you can basically pull into a weird stack point because you have misdirect on him.
Yep. Yeah, so what the nice thing is you could MD, have them line of sight, and they'd be all set.
Yep. Yep, and that's super useful for some of these dungeons, like an MGT and stuff. Remember we were doing that the other day, Crix. You know, we were out geared, going in there, and having Graze able to pull all that huge cluster of mobs back into like a corner way back was so valuable.
Yeah, and then Warlocks are Threat Kings, so I'm over here. I feel when MDs aren't out. Like when it's out, we know. Like you can feel it. Like, well, why are we on the tank's ass already? It's okay. MD, please, and then you'll see him MD late. But yeah.
Yeah.
Important.
A couple other small things too. So Arcane Shot now has a Dispel effect to it. It is 100%, right? Yeah, it looks 100%. Dispel's one magic effect. So this sounds better than it is. Maybe I'm not using it right. It's not something I usually like rely on, like a Purge or something, because there's a cooldown on an Arcane Shot, but it's there. Aim Shot with the MS effect. Let's see here. Oh, so Rapid Fire is new to TBC as well. Maybe you can, I don't know, is it worth talking about? You press it, you do a lot of damage. Range attack speed by 40%. Is there any nuance to this ability, Leox, or
Don't use it during hero. You will have way too much attack speed. It'll be so easy to clip your auto shots. You'll actually even miss steady shots because you're gonna be trying to get that auto shot off. Your auto shot's gonna finish before your GCD is even done for your steady shot.
Oh, great tip, man. Great tip. Isn't there something that reduces rapid fire cooldown too as you hit shit or something? Like it like chips away at it?
It's not as you hit it, it's rapid killing in the marksman tree. It reduces it by 60 seconds per talent point, and it goes up to 2. Goes down to a 3-minute CD.
Right, gotcha. Also, so right below it, I'm glad we went to the spellbook here. Also, Scorpid's Sting. I think it's got a bit of a buff relative to Classic. So it stings the target, reducing chance to hit with melee and ranged attack by 5% for 20 seconds. That's a good-ass debuff right there, man. That's something that will definitely move the needle at 5%. In Classic, it does something similar, but way less impactful, it feels like. Is this something that has to stay up on the boss at all times? Maybe starting with Crix, like as a raid leader, GM type role. Is Scorpid's Thing something that's on your mind, or?
No idea.
Oh, okay.
Leo, I have no idea about Hunters though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really want to try to keep it up on bosses that have really high melee attack. So like on Illidari Council, you're fighting the Ret Pally as the main target. You're gonna keep it up because if he gets too many attacks off or starts hitting your tank really hard, you're gonna really want that extra 5% chance for your tank to mitigate that hit.
Gotcha. And then we said before too, it's a bit of a utilities thing. So if you do have a Serpent Sting or a Viper Sting, I heard that if something is Viper Stinged and it's in a Wyvern Sting, or sorry, if it's like in a sheep or something, it could pop them out of the sheep. I'm actually not 100% sure on that, if somebody in the chat knows. But anyway, the point is Scorpid's Sting is good. If you have like a Serpent Sting on something that you shouldn't have it on, you have a chance. I think Serpent Sting ticks every 3 seconds or something, so you actually have a chance to rectify it and put a Scorpid's Sting on to stop it from popping whatever it's gonna pop. Viper Sting. It looks like they improved volley a bit, but we talked about this before, that it's still nothing to write home to mom about, huh?
Garbage.
Volley, yeah, you wouldn't use volley. It does so little damage for the time you take to channel it. You could do.
Feels bad, Ben. Okay, and then also Snake Trap. This is an interesting one. This is a new skill as well in the Burning Crusade. When do you use Snake Trap?
So on Endless, I don't know if it was just the interaction that it had, but there were some abilities that could actually target your snakes rather than a player. But again, it's one of the.
Cut out.
They might have cut out for a second. All good. I'll while it comes back, I'll say that in duels, you might think to yourself, oh, you always freezing trap, right? In a duel, right, Hunters? Oh, you got a freezing trap. But freezing trap doesn't kill the guy. You know, sometimes it does because you control them and you get away. But actually, at least as a hunter, right, Crix? I don't know if you've dueled a hunter that is aggressive with snake trap rather than they have a better shot if they use snake trap.
Yeah, they do. Especially as a warlock, because you're just going to dispel the ice block, right? So that, but at the same time, you just hellfire and it goes away. But it's still something I have to do, right, to get rid of them because there's a lot of snakes and they do push back. Most annoying.
Yeah, it pushbacks. I don't know if it gives you. Does it give you wound poison, guys, in the chat? I think it might. I could try to drop one and see, but I think it applies all the poisons. So mind numbing, crippling, everything gets applied. Maybe not wound poison. That might be the exception. Let's see. But those are all the snakes right there. So, you have venomous snake, viper. Either way,
5 stack of the something on you. Though I just saw it.
Yeah, there's definitely crippling and mind numbing. I'm not 100% sure if it puts wound poison on, but I'll tell you what, as a warlock, it's really annoying. It does do pushback, right? All those snakes do pushback, and yes, you can hellfire them, Crix. But I tried using rank 1 hellfire versus them. It doesn't kill them, bro. In that one tick.
You have to use the rank 3 hellfire to kill them. That's why the rank 3 is on your bars. So you'll have like a rank 1, a rank 3, and a max rank.
But
and that's the only time that you use that.
But that sucks a decent chunk of your mana out if you have to do that. Like, you're already taking a big chunk of damage fighting a hunter that it feels really bad on the warlock side to use a hellfire to kill those snakes. So, snake trap has some utility. Yeah, you did cut out Leox as well, but maybe try DC.
We can man it up. We can man it up. Let's go. Let's pretend. Let's pretend. Oh, there he's back.
There he is. Hell yeah.
Okay, you guys can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
I forgot what you had asked me.
Yo, actually, about snake trap. One humongous change. Type something in the chat if you're alive. If you're in the live, if you have a pulse, one humongous change. Maybe the biggest change. No, maybe not the biggest change, but I'm saying this for dramatic effect. Watch what happens when I right-click this mob, chat. Watch what happens.
Oh, is that not in Classic?
Nope. Nope, it's gonna throw you for a freaking loop, chat. When you right-click a mob in TBC, you pop them with the old ranged weapon. In Classic, that does not happen. So what you do, it's a bad habit in Classic, is sometimes you're just like dicking around and you just like right-click a mob just so you can like see yourself in a cool stance or something. You know, like you guys do it. You don't even notice you do it. And then it's gonna happen. You're just gonna pull. You're just gonna shoot them. And it's gonna feel...
So easy to accidentally pull shit now, yeah?
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, Leox. So we're talking about snake trap, man. When do you end up using that yourself?
Certain fights. In Endless, I don't know if it was on other private servers as well, but some abilities could actually target your snake traps instead of players. So if you popped your snake trap, it could eat like a fire blast from a mob or something.
Yeah, that's pretty juicy. Take a whole mechanic out with one of your snakes. I wonder if it's a DPS increase, man. I wonder if anybody's ever calculated it, like an explosive trap or an immolation trap versus a snake trap, all getting maximum auto attacks from it.
The amount of time you would waste going into melee, making sure that it is under whatever you're targeting or whatever, and then getting back out, you would be able to get more damage out from auto steady.
For sure. I'm just wondering, like, on a pull, like okay, imagine MGT, right? Like the last boss, you know, there's a little RP before he like comes out into the open, so you can set your pet up behind so he can attack from behind. You can put a trap down. I wonder if you had that kind of situation. If snake trap
anytime that there's a preparation time, that a trap will always be, you know, that slight DPS increase. But as long as you don't have to do it during combat.
You think you're putting down immo most of the time though, or would you actually consider maybe putting a snake trap?
Usually I put down my explosive trap just because the initial hit and then the effect on the ground.
What's the threat with the snake trap? Like if you're on Kargoz and you have pre-time, you can go put a trap underneath it, and you guys are opening up. Is that issues at all? I don't know how much damage you do.
Kargoz, as soon as you attack him, he starts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, but you can put a trap down underneath him.
No, because I mean, unless you're ready to pull as soon as he respawns, that's just gonna fuck everybody.
The snakes do decent damage, like enough to mention it worth, or obviously not enough to go in, but does it do decent damage compared to other traps? Like if you have time to put a trap down, would you emo or would you snake?
Emo over snake. I mean, unless the poisons can actually affect the target.
True. Yeah, the poison would be huge though. Yeah, sometimes that cast speed reduction is insane. Okay, so we talked about all that stuff. Let's look through if there's anything new here in the spell book.
I got a question for you, Leo.
What's up?
So when looking at your DPS compared to a BM hunter, how far behind are you? I remember you pumping pretty hard, but I wasn't paying attention to your guys' DPS as much. What's the survival hunter DPS look like compared to a BM DPS?
It actually depends on the fight a lot. You know, higher armor targets where agility is actually going to give you a better benefit than having armor pen will. I mean, like a Gurtog fight, I would be doing the same, if not more, DPS usually. Because you figure, you know, they only have 900 agility versus my 15.
That's what I was thinking. Is survival wasn't that far behind BM, right?
No.
It's not like a Destro Affliction, you know.
But then a fight like the Essence fight, I forget the name of the boss.
Reliquary of Souls.
Yeah, Reliquary. There you go. They have 0 armor. Oh man, BM Hunter is just gonna tear that apart.
Gotcha. So also Aspect of the Viper is a new one, and it's nice, man. That's another one that's just it feels super good. You wouldn't think so. You look at it. Basically, the hunter takes on the Aspect of the Viper, regenerating mana equal up to 55% of his intellect plus 35% of his level every 5 seconds. So actually interesting. It scales with level. Yeah, that's weird. So. Yeah, I mean that's not it. That's only going to matter while leveling, right? But okay, Aspect of the Viper. What does this do for you, Leox?
Just that the lower mana you are, the more mana it gives you. Once you get into T6 and you're wearing T6 gear, one of the benefits is it buffs your Aspect of the Viper just a little bit. You know, the trade-off is you lose the attack power from Aspect of the Hawk. So I mean, on a fight like in Hyjal, one of the bosses puts out a mark that explodes if you hit 0 mana. Most of the time, you're probably going to sit in Aspect of the Viper once you get around half, because you probably at that point have already used your mana pot. You got Drums of Restoration running, and you know now all it is trying not to go and trying not to blow everybody up.
Yep. So
and then you know the longer the fight is, you know, a 15-minute fight, you're going to want some phases where you're not having to push the DPS and just regenning.
So I'll give a few tips to hunters too, at least on the dungeon side of things. I don't have experience like Leox does, but this is one thing that I'm a greedy player when I DPS. I like to pump. I like to do a lot of damage. So in my mind, I think to myself, I'm just gonna use Aspect of the Hawk. Yeah, fuck it, man. Like I don't need this soy boy Viper aspect. Like I'm just gonna pump big damage. And that can sometimes work if it's a short fight, but if you have Hawk on, you'll go bro. Like you will go and if you're on those fights where like it feels horrible when you go and you're using Hawk and then you switch to Viper and then you're gonna have to cut corners with the rotation because you have no mana and you're just like barely able to spam. With Viper up, you're kind of able to just sustain the steady shot, you know, macro, but you can't do anything fancy past that. So this is very much of a thing that you're just gonna have to feel out and get a feel. Like maybe you start with Hawk a little bit, then go Viper. But I really mean it. Like this is not just like a light recommendation. Starting the fight with Viper and just keeping it on the Viper is usually the play, it feels like, man. If the fight's going to go for a decent bit of time. You know, even if it's a short fight and you do more damage, you're going to have to drink again, man, you know, after that little pull. So, I don't know if that makes any sense, but...
To add to that mana thing while you're talking about it, how is your mana? I know that you have, you know, Rep Pally keeping up Jow. If the Rep Pally's doing what he's supposed to do, how is your mana that you could typically on a boss fight? Try to think in terms of not overtuning long fights if you can.
In Classic, if you know the fights continue to be the same way they are, even if they are pre-nerf, we're going to be, you know, starting in 2.4.3 and having those values, you're going to be pretty much able to sit in Aspect the whole time if you're using a Fel Mana Pot. So essentially you're going into the fight knowing how long it's going to take on average, knowing the phases. You're not going in being like, oh, this fight's actually 7 minutes long and I didn't realize that we don't actually need to push the DPS as hard, so I'm going to save my pot and use a Fel Mana Pot rather than a haste pot. Which also, don't use your haste pot during your rapid fire or during your heroism.
Very great tip. Very great tip. Yeah. In a raid, you have Judgment of Wisdom up right from the Pally, and you might have some other raid utility giving you some mana back. Holy smokes, Alex, with the $50 donation, dude. Thank you so much, man, for the support, keeping the dream alive here. Really appreciate it, man. I'll buy Leox lunch next time we meet up next BlizzCon. Thank you, man.
Yeah, if your Rep Pally is not keeping up their Judgment, replace them.
Yeah. So maybe your mana, does your mana feel a bit better in a raid than a dungeon? I'm genuinely curious. Or
Well, yeah, remember you have all the buffs in raids too. Blessing of Wisdom, you have all the stuff on you as well that you don't have.
Your mana sustain is going to be way higher
better.
in raid than in dungeon.
Is it safe to say in a dungeon you actually go like a madman if you're pumping? Like if you're actually proactively using abilities, like maybe pushing arcane shot damage when each mob is about to die, you know, just to squeeze out a little more damage. I had mana problems, man. I had mana problems.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're, you know, into the end of T4, you're farming badges, and your prop pally tank or whatever tank you're using is constantly pulling. There's no way you're going to sustain your mana without jumping into Aspect and sitting in it or using mana pots. So there's no way you'll be able to sit Aspect for the entire, into sit in the Hawk for the entire dungeon.
For sure.
And then you'll naturally get more because hunters end up wearing some intellect, right? And they have, don't they have MP5 on some of their gear, like that Ebb and Nether skill, I think.
Yeah. And then, you know,
They
the
have
intellect
mana
scales with, or the intellect makes your Viper scale.
Hell yeah. All right. So I think we covered it, boys. Like, okay, last one I see, and then we'll move on from this section. Kill command. There probably is a bit of nuance to kill command. So this is a new ability introduced in the Burning Crusade. Here it is. Give the command to kill, causing your pet to instantly attack for an additional 127 damage. Can only be used after the hunter lands a critical strike on the target. Is this base? Is it only for BM hunters? Are you doing the damage? Is it your pet doing the damage? How big of a percentage of your damage is this? Is this something that's very frequently? Are you critting a lot? Are you critting a little? My mind is racing, Leox. Maybe you can help the people out here.
Kill command, it's not on the GCD, so you're gonna macro it into like your steady shot. So you're spamming your steady shot, and it's going to use your kill command every 6 seconds. You put it into every spell, it'll use your kill command every single time it's up and it's available. It's baseline for Hunter, so every spec's going to have it. If you're not using kill command, you're not playing Hunter right. And you know, with Beast Lord, you know, you use your kill command and you get the armor pen. The nice thing is the Beast Lord armor pen lasts 15 seconds. Kill command's on that 6-second cooldown. So cool, you have that 9-second window, you know, grace period to get another crit.
Wow. And speaking of Beast Lord set, and we'll talk about more about this in a minute, guys, here it is. I got the 4-piece Beast Lord on right now, and this is maybe the most powerful normal dungeon set, is it safe to say? Crix knows all about the pre-bis. By far. This is a normal dungeon set. I say again, not a heroic one. You just get it as you're grinding up to 70, doing, you know, well, I guess you get some of the pieces from like Steam Vault and stuff, so it's 70 dungeons, but given 600 armor pen from this is gonna, like, this alone, this piece of it will carry you through how far, Leox?
Until you got your 4-piece T5.
Wow. So if we're looking at phase 1 in classic TBC, just consisting of Mags, Gruels, and Kara, and maybe that lasts a couple months. I mean, this is BIS for months and months and months for you. The normal dungeon set.
Yeah, you're
going to use that
3 months.
You're going to use that for multiple phases, according to how Blizz is setting up their phases.
Gotcha. Dustbone, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs, my friend. Good to see you. I hung out with Dustbone last night, Crix. It was mad fun. He's part of our Dungeon Cleave.
Oh, man.
Good to see you, brother. Okay, I think that's about it when it comes to... Oh, I had another question. Does kill command require line of sight of your pet?
No. Of your pet or of the boss? I'm pretty sure it doesn't require line of sight of either.
Yeah, I think it doesn't either, right? This is one of those things like in PvP. Here, and chime in chat, like there's big brains in the chat all over the place, right? You know, so... Yeah, but I think one of the cool things about kill command is your pet could be around a pillar, right? And you're not in line of sight of the target because he's running away from you because you're a hunter pumping damage into him. And you're still able to connect with like a high damaging ability with kill command, even though you don't have any LOS to the target. Your pet does. So you're able to kill command him, which is just a bit of a nuance to the ability.
Yeah, the only thing you've got to remember that you have to crit to activate it.
Right. So you'd have to crit, but you have like a grace period for a couple seconds to use it after you.
Yeah, you have a grace period.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's it for that section, boys. That took a bit. I mean, it was very productive, though. I feel. Hopefully, you guys are learning some stuff, man, in the chat. It's
May I ask a question? Oh wait, you're going over classes. Never mind. I'll wait till we go later.
Yeah, I mean, go for it, man.
Just because it's been asked a couple times already, The macro you're talking about, trinket swapping and melee weaving. Are they going to be in the game? If not, what's going on with that?
Trinket swapping should not be, because of the way that Feign Death works now. Or not the way that Feign Death works, but the way that bosses work. Pretty sure it keeps you in combat for the entire raid, as long as you're in combat with the boss. So you can feign death, but you won't be able to, actually fully drop combat to switch your pet or to drink or anything like that. The only class that can do that, well, only classes, I'm pretty sure, are Rogue and Mage. Rogue when they can't think of the ability now. When they invis, and then Mage when they invis.
Yeah, vanish and invisibility for the mages. Yeah.
The pink saying trinket swapping was removed in 2.3.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually a note on it. It's really hard to find, but if you search hard enough, you can actually find the patch notes for it.
Yeah, the melee weaving, I'm dying to know your opinion on too, because that's that just became more and more the flavor in the hunter community. People gravitated more and more towards melee weaving. If you look at the mentality towards melee weaving at the start of Classic and where we are now, everybody's trying to get that melee damage in. So why would there potentially be no melee weaving in TBC?
Because in Classic you don't really have, that spammable ability that has no CD. That's your big damage ability. In Classic, you have that grace period where you can go in melee and you still have time before your auto shot goes off. You're gonna lose DPS going into melee, getting back out to that 5 yards, than you would staying out and getting that steady auto, and then you have that little grace period if you don't have the haste to get another steady in that time, to then use a multi-shot or your Serpent Sting or your Scorpion Sting or your Arcane Shot.
Interesting. So
you'll always do more DPS staying out.
It makes a lot of sense. If you look at my hunter guide for Classic, we called it the flex spot, right? So like every now and again, as you're going through the aim shot, multi-shot rotation with your auto shots, you'll get to this point where you can it's like an opening, a little window where you can feign death trinket swap, or you can go for a melee weave, throw a bomb, do one of a couple different options, right? And that no longer is there because you have a spammable thing. My question is though, sort of in practice, in reality, yeah, like it's probably 99% of the time not going to be better to go in melee weave, but because there's no dead zone, and because I think the range to actually shoot with a ranged is a bit less in TBC, I think. What if you were just on a straight up target dummy, right? Leox, like there's just a target dummy, you're standing right behind it, and this is just like in a bubble, and you're able to take 2 steps in literally to put a trap and hit him with the raptor strike, and take like literally 2 steps out, and you're able to pump again, and you don't have to worry about any boss mechanics or anything like that. It seems like it could be possible that in that very specific circumstance you might be able to get a better damage output.
Well, the only thing you got to remember too is that you cannot auto shot while you are moving. So say your auto shot goes off, but you're currently moving, it'll wait to actually fire until you stop.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, you may have it may take a second to get in and out, but you didn't stop moving until it was a second and a half. So now you actually clipped your auto shot and you lost DPS again.
Gotcha. So for all intents and purposes, don't even worry about it. The melee weave. Also, most of the time, do you use a dual wield or like a big two-hander in as a hunter?
If weapon stones work the way that I think they're gonna work, then you'll go 2 one-handers. Just because I think it was the blunt weapon stones give ranged weapon damage, and they also give crit to give ranged crit, versus the sharp ones, which give melee crit only.
Right, and aren't the enchants superior if you're enchanting more, even building on the weapon stones? If you're enchanting 2 one-handers, don't you end up getting like more?
Yeah, you get 40 agility versus 35.
Right, so that'd be another reason. Like if your setup is dual wield, like that raptor strike is not going to be as punchy necessarily. Or like that, that time that you take to go in, it's you usually want to melee weave with something that's like really slow and hard hitting, so you can extract full value from it, and then
if you're going to melee, you'd use a 2. If you're going to be one of those people that still melee, you'd be using a 2-hander.
Right.
But then you'd also trade off on the 5 agility and whatever other stats the difference between the 2 weapons are.
Right. So okay, just taking a few steps out too. So why to play a hunter? We have listed here. We went through this together before. Top tier DPS and in high demand for raids in every single stage of TBC. Is there any point where hunters fall off or anything, Crix, or?
Nope.
No.
Trust
If
me,
your
I
hunter's
fucking
falling
wish.
off,
I
it's 'cause
wish
they're not
but no.
damaging right.
Yeah, the only time that you'll see people, so people come into my stream and they'll be like, "Yo, I thought hunters were good damage. What are you guys doing?" And I'll be like, it's because they're Lady Vashur dealing with elemental cores or something. Like they're doing something where they're not allowed to stand still and pump. If it's ever something where you can just stand there and pump, they're smacking everybody. And especially low armor bosses towards the end of the game, where a lot of those 6,700 bosses are there, they're pumping.
Gotcha.
Irritating.
I put strong dueling in world PvP. I'm taking a few steps back with the strong dueling after playing them a lot on the, well, not a lot, but you know, I've been playing the hunter on the arena server. I feel like you lose almost every single duel matchup, man. If you're playing against somebody with like decent PvP gear, they know what they're doing. Like,
It's very easy to counter a hunter, but at the same time, a really good hunter, just skill alone, it will beat some classes.
Yeah.
A really good hunter is magical, but you're also playing a warlock too. So your warlock duels you had with the hunter, don't use that as an example.
Yeah, it's true.
We pop them out in PvP.
We do, but I'm just saying, as a hunter, man, it feels pretty rough sometimes, man, in the dueling. But world PvP, if you're opening max range with your pet and your bestial wrath, and you're like 45 yards away, and like with a viper sting, and that's how you open up on the other guy, you know, like you can win in the world PvP. But yeah, okay, viable arena comps in all brackets. This is still true though, right? They do have viable arena comps in all brackets.
They do have viable arena comps.
Singular, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, if the players are good enough, any comp is viable.
Yep. Would you agree that they're the easiest to gear from pre-bis through tier 5, or is that too extreme?
Unless, you know, you have thousands of gold, yeah, it's going to be the easiest. Because your pre-bis can be farmed in normal content.
Okay. You think so, Crix? You've been doing all the pre-bis stuff?
Well, you actually have to. I mean, if you have the gold, if we're talking about TBC Classic,
yeah,
like as a warlock, you have the gold just to buy all your pre-bis, right? A hunter actually has to go out there and grind to get it, and those are elusive. You're gonna be running steamboats for a while. Sometimes that's really elusive. Those pieces are. You know that. You both know that. You got to farm them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So you think if you have massive gold, there could be classes easier?
I mean,
if you have massive amounts of gold, you can buy your Spellfire just right out.
Right away.
Yeah.
If you have gold, you don't have to farm anything. I just log in, hit 70, and wait for people to put shit on the auction house, and then buy it all.
So if gold wasn't the factor, though, like let's just say you're just new to the game, you don't have much gold or whatever, like this would be. Could you think of?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Okay. If you're looking at, you aren't one of those people in Classic with a shit ton of gold, or you didn't play Classic Hunters, nice, because they're not that. You do have ebb and nether skill. You have some crafting you need to get, like you need leatherworking, but leatherworking is typically kind of cheap, you know. So
yeah,
especially if they do something with leatherworking and drums not tied together, it's going to be even cheaper to do leatherworking. But if you're one of those guys with not a lot of gold, like a lot of people are, Hunter's a very safe one because you just farm them.
Okay. Gotcha. And then fast leveling. I mean, I don't know, nobody's gonna fight you on that one. I mean, they're beasts at leveling. Pretty much every iteration of WoW, man. Hunters they pump.
I underestimated the leveling. I knew that they were fast levelers. Yesterday, I started a level 60 hunter with full phase 6 gear on, and I went into middle of this place and just stood my ground and was able to kill like 15 things without even being half health and half mana. Faster than any other. I level every class of 70 faster than any other class, like double speed. It's unless you're like a mage AoE grinding, it's literally the fastest spec, like eclipsing everybody else. It's insane.
Right. So they do still use ammo too. If people are wondering about that, you still have to feed your pet. Those mechanics are still into place, but it's not too bad. And just talking about the arena comps in all brackets, just to quickly talk on it for a second. In 2s, Season 1, you can play. Honestly, I don't know if you can go for a drain comp in Season 1. Like a drain comp, I mean, you could try. I'm not 100% confident you would do well in a drain comp because it's very bursty. People don't have much resilience. The meta is just trending towards double DPS. So you'd probably actually be recommended to go BM Season 1 and maybe try to run with... it doesn't have to necessarily be double DPS, but to run Beast Mastery. And then in the later seasons moving on, you'll see the Hunters go Marksmanship and go for a drain comp, which just refers to... grinding your opponents down on mana and staying alive, just sitting in your frost trap and being annoying and plinking people and just draining them of mana. In 2s, they're most of the time they're partnered with a resto druid, pretty much only resto druid. I don't think I've seen a priest hunter, maybe once or twice. And we did I remember losing to a Russian priest hunter. That was kind of aggravating. The games take a while in a drain comp, and then in 3s, the main comp you see him in is a double healer hunter drain comp, so it's likely paired with a discipline priest as well as a resto druid. That resto druid is sometimes resto kin, just so he's like kind of a half DPS, and priest are already kind of like a half DPS. That's a very strong comp though, double healer hunter. You're gonna get some people telling you to like KYS though if you play that comp. Like you will 100% get those messages. Yeah.
Disc hunter lock.
Okay.
Drain comp.
Hunter lock drain comp?
Disc hunter lock.
Disc hunter lock? Oh, yeah.
That's your 3 drain tankers.
Okay, so going back to the agenda here, let's talk just real quick about racials and faction balance. How do you feel about the racials and faction balance? Is one faction stronger, one faction weaker, and then of those factions, which race would you choose?
Definitely one faction is a lot stronger. You talk about racials alone, it's gonna be Horde, because you got the 5% extra pet damage from being orc. That alone right there is going to be the strongest possible racial you can get. I mean, you go Night Elf, you get extra base agility and shadow meld, and pretty sure that's it for it. You go Dwarfs, you get the 1% crit from using a gun. The only issue is the only guns there are the PvP ones or T4. And I guess ZA.
Or the NG
that
one
ZA
too,
gun's
right?
not the bet.
But apparently that one sucks. I always hear people say it's a tank gun. Why though? If you make an epic gun from engineering, does it have stamina on the gun or something?
It's only stamina with the yellow socket. I'm pretty sure the yellow socket bonus is stamina as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual like DPS on it or damage range is it bad too, or is there going to be a better option? Like what?
I guess the DPS on it. The down Samus would be better, but I guess it has decent DPS on it, but it has no extra stats, so it's not even like it has crit or attack power or hit or anything like that.
I see. Gotcha. So if you had to gun to your head play Alliance, which race would you choose if you were more into, or just based on you, PvP?
If I were playing, my usual survival, I would probably be the GOAT. I'd be forced to play GOAT for that 1% extra hit for my group. Because you always want to have, the one drain eye so that your hunters can run 8% hit instead of 9.
Gotcha.
And then if you got the druid, or not, if you got the boomkin, you're now running 5% hit. So making up 4% hit just from having one class and one race.
And then on the Horde side, you mentioned the orc pet racial. That's something in Classic that you barely notice, right? That pet damage racial, because your pets aren't scaling and you're not playing BM. But it's interesting.
Your pets aren't as strong.
Yep, it's interesting that 5% actually matters in TBC. In addition to freaking Blood Fury, man, the absolute monster in PvE. So is it really noticeable? Like if you were to play a troll or if you were to play a Tauren hunter, like is your damage going to be significantly lower without Blood Fury in that pet racial?
Yeah, your damage will be. So there's certain times where being a troll hunter with that extra attack speed, you might be able to pump out a little bit of extra DPS, but from in every single fight, daily standpoint, you won't get as much use out of being troll or Tauren or anything like that as you would be in an orc.
Right.
Being the Tauren hunter, you also get the extra stun, which can be useful in arena, and the extra stamina.
Gotcha. Okay, well there's the racials and faction balance for you guys in the chat. Let's move on to gearing and itemization. So this is really useful stuff. People preparing their hunters right now in Classic. Knowing what you know about the potential changes to leatherworking, I don't know if that shifts anything in your mind. What professions are you going to go right out of the gate on fresh? Maybe you're going to go through a rotation of professions. Let's
if I don't want to spend gold, skinning and leatherworking. But if I got the gold to just straight up buy my mats and everything, I'm probably going to go leatherworking and enchanting. Enchanting because of the ring enchants, and you'd be able to do your own enchants disenchant all of the extra gear that you get that you don't want. Now you can make money off of those, selling those mats. And hopefully, you know, they don't change leatherworking too much to where everybody's still going to need drums and stuff. So now leather itself is going to be cheaper, and you're actually going to make more gold being enchanting versus skinning.
Okay, interesting. So with the leatherworking, it's not only for the drums too. Crix kind of like alluded to them, but you craft some pieces of gear as a hunter. What pieces are those? How many are those? Is it a big deal? Like if you were to not go leatherworking, would that make your life a bit harder as a hunter?
I mean, you're still gonna end up going leatherworking for T6. So I mean, it's just if you want to level it multiple times, you want to level it once at the start, or if you want to level it once at the end. But from off the bat for T4, going leatherworking is going to give you the highest DPS if you're min maxing, because of you know, the two sets you can make, the primal leather and the nether cobra. Pretty sure it's nether cobra.
Okay, and you said, sorry, that was T6 when you're making those?
No, that's T4. In T6,
T4.
you're going to be making the Sunwell drops.
Okay. Sorry, man, I'm a little bit lost. So you're making Ebb and Nether scale set for Tier 4? That's the... That's the set. And is it 2 3-pieces of it?
It's
3-piece.
It's 3-piece. And you'll make that one if the fights end up actually being longer. Otherwise, if you don't need the mana and you don't need the regen, you might actually go primal leather.
Primal leather. That's a different
There's
set. Primal
MP5
leather.
on the Ebb and Nether scale, so you're not gonna need the MP5 if it's a long fight. If it's shorter fights.
Okay, so it seems like maybe you don't... Is it... How necessary is that? It didn't seem like you think it's that necessary to have that Primal Nether set or the Ebb and Nether set. Like maybe there's alternatives, or...
There are alternatives, you know, just other blue dungeon gear. But, I mean, it'll technically be a DPS loss.
Okay.
So to put in perspective, I'm looking at Ebb and Nether scale breastplate. It's 30 attack power behind, 31 crit behind, and the MP5 behind.
Okay.
Significant on each piece, by the way, so it's a lot.
I gotcha. I think I have it on right now. Yeah, you can see it here, chat. Here's Ebb and Nether scale. 3-piece, all epic. Set is hit rating by 20, which seems really solid. This hunter is in Prebis. Beast Lord. Are these the pieces you're getting for Beast Lord? Hands, helm, legs, mantle?
Yep, because you need the chest piece to get the 3-piece bonus from the leatherworking.
Sonic Spear Polearm. Is this Prebis? I think, right?
It is. If you're not using any weapon stones, but like I said, if you use the weapon stones, be able to use 2 blunt ones. So there's actually a fist weapon that has 2 sockets. That, you know, 2 sockets is pretty invaluable. But also you get the blunt weapon stone, which will give you weapon damage and crit.
Okay.
And also, as survival, you're using 2 one-hands instead of Sonic Spear.
So that you can get the full agility.
Yeah.
Right. This marksman bow, by the way, both Alliance and Horde have basically a guaranteed epic weapon that they can get from their Thrallmar or Honor Hold reputations. It seems very juicy. What do you think about it though, Leox? Would you go for that on Fresh? Is that like a prio for you? Get exalted with Thrallmar or Honor Hold to get those, or what's going through your mind?
Yeah, if I need a good weapon and I don't have the crossbow from Nax, then I'm gonna go and try to get one of those.
Okay. So there you go. That's honestly, I see that as a major quality of life, guys. Your main tool to distribute damage is a guarantee as opposed to a chance. It's totally within your control. You go out there and grind that rep. Also, Bloodlust Brooch. This is pretty much everyone who's using attack power is going for this. This is what, 40 badges or something, Crix? That's a no-brainer.
Yep, 41.
And then the rest of this stuff. Let's see.
Pretty sure that Bloodlust Brooch, I forget what item it is, but it's a direct upgrade from one of the Nax items.
It's a direct upgrade from Slayer's Crest.
Yeah.
So you can really, and it's by direct upgrade, it means 8 attack power with like 18 more on you. So like if you have Slayer's Crest, you can actually spend your badges elsewhere, then come back and get Blood Roost if you want. Opens up a little window.
Hourglass of the Unraveler. This is out of the Caverns of Time dungeon. Black Morass, isn't it? This is a juicy trinket. Ravenclaw brand, Slayer's Mark of Redemption. I think this is from a quest or something, isn't it? Slayer's Mark of Redemption? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, it's there's a ring. Fell leather boots, though. Is this really Prebis? I think I copied something to put this together.
Yeah, it is.
It?
You copied my list that he helped me work on, by the way. So yeah, that's right.
And this is BOE, so you could just buy this, or you could craft it yourself.
Fell leather is going to be the most. It's really cheap because that's the main thing people use to level up their leatherworking. So it's all over the auction house.
Okay, so really leatherworking, but you could craft it yourself as well, Crix. Like, so you can craft 4 pieces of gear with leatherworking for yourself. That's pre-bis.
More, because there's some more feather leather. Feather leather you can get if you want. But yeah.
Yeah, you could get gloves. You could get leggings. But no, but Beast Lord, you're doing that for Beast Lord. Man, that's insane, bro. 4 pieces from leatherworking, and then you get 4 pieces that are from normal dungeons. That's 8 pieces that are pretty chill and easy to get. Then you get the guaranteed weapon out of Honor Holder, Thrallmar, guaranteed trinket, Bloodlust Brooch, Choker of Vile Intent. Does this ring a bell? Where do you get this neck piece from?
That one, I'm pretty sure it's the 25 badges from the badge vendor.
Yeah, it's 25, yeah. So that's one of those things where if you don't have to spend 41 badges, you can go run Choker the Vile Intent really fast and then come back and get the trinket. If you have Slayer Screen.
And on classic launch, if you're playing Hunter, would you go with a Wind Serpent initially, or would you go for a Ravager initially, Leos?
Ravager, because I'm not going to have the range attack part or the crit to make the Wind Serpent Bis.
Okay. So Ravager. And then you said 30%, once your crit gets 30%, so mine's at 26 right now, I don't have Hawk on or other stuff, but once this gets to 30%, you would shift over to Wind Serpent?
That's what I use as like my base for when I want to switch to it.
Okay. Switch to Wind Serpent, gotcha.
Because at that point I should be critting enough that I'm generating enough focus to where I can spam Lightning Breath. Because, you know, every time you crit, you get your pet 50 focus.
And just to get through some of the basic stuff, what's the hit cap for Hunter in PvE?
Without a Drain Eye and without a Boomkin, it's 142 hit, so 9%.
It looks like that's something that falls into place pretty easily if you just get this gear that we're talking with the Prebis and then maybe maneuver some gems around, because I have 152 right now. So is it not too big of a deal?
Yeah, in your Prebis as a hunter, it's not going to be that big of a deal. You're going to find that you have a lot more.
Okay.
But as you get into T5, you're going to start, you know, wanting to mix and match pieces to stay at that 142 if you don't have the Drain Eye or if you don't have the Boomkin. If you do have a Boomkin but you're Horde, it's going to be 95 hit for the 6%.
That's a big
and then
difference.
If you're survival with the Boomkin, it's 48 hit.
Now I noticed I have a big spattering of gems here. I have some yellows that are going crit. I even have a purple one going for AP mana per 5 because it has a socket bonus for 3 agility. I see some red gems just going straight agility. Does this look correct, or are you just going straight agility, maybe patching a hole if you need some hit here and there? What's your mentality on gemming and just how you value the stats?
Of course, you know, the biggest thing you're gonna need is hit, so that should always be the number one thing you hit. So if your gear that you're currently wearing will not hit cap, then, you know, use the yellow gem or the orange gem for the 8 or 4 hit pre T6, because you only get blue gems at that point. But once you get to a point where you don't need hit or anything, as survival I actually use 2 green gems that are agility and stamina, so that it takes up the blue socket as well as the yellow one for my meta gem, versus, you know, going the 2 orange, 2 blue, whatever.
Gotcha.
And that way, you know, you have now 2 slots dedicated to those socket bonuses versus the 4.
Okay. Another thing too is so your ammunition. If you're using a bow, which it seems like most people end up using a bow, you need to get Cenarian Expedition up to Revered to buy your ammo. First of all, is it that important? It seems like it's pretty important to do that.
Oh yeah, it's super important to have the best ammo. It's just like if you were using a 70 DPS weapon versus a 50 DPS weapon, you're going to notice the difference. Because the ammo is actually calculated into your damage for each shot and everything.
And what if you're using bullets as opposed to arrows? Where would you get the max level bullets?
The unfortunate part of that is it's engineering.
Right, but you can buy them off the auction house, right?
Correct. Until, you know, you get into Kara and you get Revered, I think it is, with them. Then you can get the timeless bullets or whatever it is.
Gotcha. But that's going to be something that a lot of you in the chat probably like aren't anticipating, right? Like you feel pretty comfortable on Hunter. That was weird to me. Like going through the motions recently, gearing up my Hunter on Endless 1, I was like, oh shit, you got to get the blue arrows from Cenarian. And I was like honored or something at the time, and it just felt so awkward not having the best ammo for a little bit.
So you got to get it, man. Hey, it comes with a price. You guys are pumping.
Yep.
Be uncomfortable for a little bit.
So let's talk about raid consumes and stuff like that. I think I have them all here. I could be missing some though. Flask of Relentless Assault. So there's a Battle Elixir and a Guardian Elixir in TBC, and there's also flasks that count as both a Battle and a Guardian Elixir. So my question to you, Leox, is which one are you choosing? Are you going to go with the flask, or are you going to go with the Battle and the Guardian, the separated ones which are here? You can see chat. Elixir of Major Agility and Elixir of Major Mage Blood. Is that the right one? Yeah.
Yeah, Mage Blood would be the Guardian one you use. That's just the straight up MP5. If I know that I'm going to be struggling for mana, or I want the extra mana regen, I'm going to go Agility and Mage Blood. But for like, if I'm caring about my gold and we're doing progression and stuff, or I just know that, you know, we're one of those kinds of guilds that we wipe a couple of times, or there's going to be a couple of deaths, I'm going to use the Flask, because it's 120 attack power and saving on, you know, 2 elixirs every single time I die, please.
Okay, so basically it depends. If you need mana, you're going to go with the Battle and the Guardian.
Yep.
And this is 120 attack power.
Yep.
You're going to need mana on TBC
no,
Classic?
It depends, because you remember some fights are going to be pre-nerf.
But these go away if you die, see, right? That's another consideration. Like if you're wiping
Correct.
a lot, maybe you don't use the Battle and Guardian, whereas these ones will persist through death. Also, I think the Flask is probably cheaper, right, Crix? Generally, than buying both separately, or no?
I never had to buy two potions before, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Flasks are cheap, and yes, flasks are cheap right now. We don't know how the economy is going to be with no gold cap.
Right.
So
Exactly.
We don't know how the economy is going to be. So but as of right now, flasks are usually generally pretty cheap.
Now, Superior Mana Oil, is this really the best thing you can put on your weapon? It's like a caster consumable, you would think. Is this the best thing you put on your melee weapon?
For mana regen, yes. But it also takes the place of the Weapon Stone. Weapon Stone is going to be better than the Mage Blood.
Okay, so I don't have that here, my bad. So what is the Weapon Stone called, if you remember off the top of your head?
Oh, man. I can't think of the top of my head. Maybe, what'd you say, Crick? Something.
Whetstone? I don't know. It's called a Whetstone IRL, right? So something Whetstone. I have no idea. No.
Either way, is there only one? Like maybe it's not going to be hard to find for people if they just search up Weapon Stone. Is there might be a couple in TBC though. I'm not sure. Either way, what does it do? The Weapon Stone.
Adamantine Weighting Stone.
There you go.
Thank you, Sangism.
The Weight Stone gives you gives you range crit and weapon damage.
Okay.
So
yeah, that seems better than MP5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also, guys, this is really weird, chat. This is really weird. Like, especially if you don't play Hunter, you might find this really weird. There's a pet consumable in TBC. How weird is that, chat? Weird champs. Kibler's Bits, and I think this is Bits for. Oh no, there's a couple actually. There's a Sporegar Bite. Oh yeah, here it is. Sporegar Bite increases the stamina and spirit of your pet by 20, and then Kibler's Bits increases strength and spirit. Is Kibler's Bits forever? How do you get them as well? Sorry.
Kibler's Bits is going to be best. That's a 20 strength one, I believe. It's once fishing dailies come out, you get it from doing the fishing daily from the chest.
So you need fishing as a hunter, unless you want to buy them off the auction house.
You can buy them off the auction house. Strength and spirit.
Yeah, that's cool though, man. That's cool that they put pet consumes in. Or is it annoying
in
practice?
No, it's really cool. I mean, you know, your pet dies just like you, then of course you're gonna have to refeed it.
Yep. Okay. So then we have potions. I just have healing and mana potion here. These are pretty cheap to buy off the auction house. Are there any other potions you might want to consider as opposed to just a straight up healing or mana one?
Bell Mana Pot is going to be better than the Superior Mana Pot, but it's one of those things where it gives you mana over time versus all of it up front.
Oh wow.
And then of course haste pots.
And haste pots. Are those available at launch, haste pots?
100. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they are. They're base. No, they're not base. They are a world drop.
World drop.
But I'm pretty sure they're available on launch.
So are you popping that every fight pretty much at some point? Like that's your go-to trusty dusty potion if you're just pumping?
Yeah, if I don't need mana, but it's one of those things where it gives 400 haste, so I'm not going to pop it during rapid fire, I'm not going to pop it during hero.
Okay, gotcha. And then the Fel Mana Pot, is that something you can purchase off the auction house, or do you have to do anything weird for that?
Nope, some you can purchase off the auction house. It's another world drop, I'm pretty no, I think that one might be from the trainer.
Okay. Very nice. Then as far as food, you have a couple different options here. I have in my inventory right now the old Warp Burger here, giving you 20 agility and spirit. And then you got the golden fish sticks. Oh no, this is just for the pet, just for he can eat something. He's not very happy at the moment. But there's a couple other ones too, right? I think there's like a Talbot venison or something. Which food are you end up using most of the time?
Warp Burger is the cheapest and easiest. And then somebody in chat said HI or agility scrolls. It's another thing you're gonna want because that stacks with everything.
Agility scrolls, gotcha. Where do you have a go-to spot for that, or just the auction house?
Auction house, because so actually there's a repair bot that you can get the plans for, and that every time you drop the repair bot sells 2 of each scroll, 2 intellect, 2 agility, 2 strength. And on endless, the cost to make it was actually cheaper than it was to buy the scrolls straight up.
Gotcha.
You could actually make the repair bots. It gives you 5 per craft. Drop it every 10 minutes, and you get 2 of each scroll. Sell the ones you don't need, and then keep doing that over and over.
That's a big brain tip because repair bots in Classic are no joke, man. That's big investment. In TBC, they're way cheaper, and they're actually useful just as scroll printers. That's a really great tip right there. So I'm sorry. I think you might have mentioned it, but I might have went over my head. How do you actually make the repair bot? You can just buy them off the auction house and summon them, and then buy the scrolls from them, or do you have to craft them as a engineer and then?
You can buy them, but you have to be an engineer to use them.
Okay.
So you go farm the pattern, which I'm pretty sure in TBC it's from the I don't even know how to pronounce the name, the Ganargs or whatever, up by Ogrelaw. That's where you'll get the pattern for them.
Gotcha. Also, I noticed this leg enchant, 50 attack power, 12 crit. This is from leatherworking, again, I think as well, right? You craft this in leatherworking?
Yep, and that's one of the things that you can actually buy off the auction house.
Right, but that's just another thing too that strengthens why you'd want to be a leatherworker as a hunter, right? Not only can you craft like 4 pieces, but you can make this leg enchant stuff. You might have to make a couple. I mean, leatherworking
you can make those, which get pretty expensive, and you need a primal leather to make them. And that, because we're in 2.4.3, I don't think will be bound on pickup. But if it is, that's one of the things where you would then have to find an enchanter. Or not enchanter, a leather worker with the primal leather.
Another random kind of subtle question here, but you mentioned not popping haste pot when there's bloodlust, or if there's rapid fire, or using certain things when those things are active. What about drums? If you're going zug, let's say in a 5-man dungeon group, if you pop drums, would you pop a haste pot? Would you pop all of your cooldowns like rapid fire in tandem with drums of battle, or do you try to stagger them out a little bit?
Drums of battle, hopefully if they don't change it, if you have 4 people in the group with drums of battle, it'll have 100% uptime. So it doesn't matter what you use during it. The only thing is you don't want to use rapid fire with hero with your haste pot, because then you'll be clipping your auto shots.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yo, Leox. While we're here, in-game bis, Thordal, black bow, golden bow.
I prefer golden bow. Black bow, you gotta remember, the only green text on it is attack power and the 8 mana every time you hit.
Okay. What about Thordal?
You might have cut out for a second. Thordal, legendary alert, chat. If you go hunter, you can get a legendary, and it looks sick, and it has no ammo, and the ammo DPS is baked into the bow, and it slaps, and it's beautiful, and definitely something to strive for.
Oh, I guess I missed the part we asked about Thordal. Thordal is, in my opinion, BIS, because yes, if you include the arrows with the actual golden bow, yeah, sure. I mean, Thordal's arrows are baked in to that damage. That's why it's so high, but that damage is still higher than golden bow and black bow, and still at 2.7.
Yeah, the damage is 162 DPS versus 95. on the bow, on the difference on the bows. And Thordal's faster with less ammo, so it's much better.
No ammo. Hell yeah. So another thing too, just conceptual. So I don't know if we talked about this, chat. There's a one-shot macro. It's existed in the private servers for a long time. Here it is for you to look at. I think there might be a better one too. People have little variations to it. You basically plug in your weapon speed into this right here. So I think mine's 2.8 at the moment. So you plug 2.8. A lot of people saying it may not work. I look at this. I don't know what's gonna break come TBC Classic, but just to get your opinion on this, Leox too. If this one-shot macro isn't working, are hunters fucked? Like, is it the end of the world? Like, what will happen if there's no one-shot macro, if anything?
I mean, it's just going to require you to pay more attention. You should still be able to macro kill command to your abilities because it's off the GCD. But if that doesn't work, then watch your swing timer. Make sure steady shot finishes before your auto shot goes off.
So if it doesn't work, you could make a macro just like this, pretty much. I would imagine you would just make one that's it would just have cast steady shot, and then cast kill command on another line, just at the most basic level. The kill command should work all the time because it's off the global, like you said, and then you just be monitoring that swing timer. So if it was if you were casting steady shot and you were about to, okay, let's break it down. Let's say your auto shot's about to go off, right? And you've just started the steady shot cast. Is there a way to cancel that steady shot and let the auto go off? Would you have to just move? You can't move, right?
I'll cancel.
Yeah, you can make a cancel macro, but you can also just move.
But the move is going to stop the auto shot as well, right? Well, I guess
it depends. If it's a really quick stutter, then it should be fine still.
Okay. Gotcha. So you'd have to do something like that. You're basically just spamming this macro and trying to preserve the natural shot speed on your swing timer. Nope, doesn't seem like the end of the world. Do you have to wrap up here, Leox? Sorry to keep you so late, man.
Oh no, you're good. I'm doing the raid right now as I talk to y'all.
Okay, sick. The multitasking is real. Leox pumping in his raid right now as he dispenses all this big brain knowledge. All right, let's take a look at. Let me go back to the slides. We got through most of it, so. All right, let's talk about gold farming real quick. Is there anything special that hunters have access to, or is it the same story where level up Prot Pally and do Prot Pally things?
Yeah, we have access to being really high single target DPS. So make best friends with a main spec Pally or make your own. That's pretty much the biggest thing. Otherwise, you can go over to the Path of Conquest, farm those with you can do it solo, but it's gonna be a lot easier with a group. Make a group, farm that. Pretty much all we have access to in terms of actual farming outside of skinning or profession.
Gotcha. By the way, chat, here are just general stat weights. We worked on a guide earlier, Leox and Crix and I, and these are just leftovers, but these are all super useful. If you wanted to screenshot this at any point or pause the stream, you can see the general stat priority, general stat weights, 40 AGs, 1 crit. Some interesting stuff here too. Ideal weapon speed is 2.5 to 2.8, assuming a 15% quiver. Is this just a math thing? Like it ends up just being better within that range if you have an ideal 2.5 to 2.8. Also, what is the best quiver? That's another. What's the quiver progression? If you have
off the bat, it's gonna be your quiver from your Roctalar quest. But once you get up to Revered, I think it is, with one of the Nagrand reps, you can actually get a 24 slot quiver.
Well, even the slots though, is it more is it the increased attack speed on those, or is it just a bigger inventory?
Same attack speed throughout all of it. It's just the extra slots.
Oh, okay. Also, base pet focus regeneration here. Let's see if there's anything else useful. You skip through this. Ability progression. Had some parses here. Oh, look at this, chat. So steady shot actually is the biggest part of your damage. At all the different tiers, we have a Black Temple parse here, a couple different Black Temple parse here, Serpent Shrine parse, steady shot. Is that safe to say it's the biggest piece of your damage?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now I guess maybe the last thing we can do is go through, you know, your talent spec for PvE, my friend. What spec you're gonna roll out with on launch and why. Let me pull up the game again. Alright. So I'll pull up the talents. I am Beast Mastery right now.
So you're actually gonna run 4120.
4120. So I got 41 here. You might be rating too, so it might be hard to look over. But I got 5 in imp aspect of the Hawk.
Yep. Yep. So that looks good so far. You can also take the thick hide instead of the HP one, because you know at lower HP you're not going to get as much effectiveness out of it.
Yep. That's a bit of a flex point.
Yep.
Let's see if there's anything else to proprietary here. 4 points in Frenzy. This is something that is in Classic. Hunters are on the same page with. Does that continue to be a thing in TBC? You only need 4 to keep it up?
Yep. You only need 4 to have maximum uptime on it.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Everything look okay?
Yep, scroll down a little bit. Yeah, no, that's the perfect 41 points in the BM tree.
41 points, gotcha. And then 20 points in marks is what it's looking like.
Yep, 20 points in marks. You make sure that you have to pick up aim shot to get the extra ranged crit on the mortal shots there. And then you got the 2 in rapid killing, 2 and go for the throat. As survival, you would actually take, well, as long as you have 1 hunter in the party, or 1 hunter in the raid, your 1 hunter is going to take that improved hunter's mark.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so that's probably pretty important. One of you has to have that for sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Otherwise, your melee are never going to talk to you again.
Yep. Yep. Is this just? I mean, why don't you just grab this in general though? Like if you're doing dungeons and stuff, your pet will always get value from this, right? So I mean, maybe it's just better to get this over efficiency. You know, for dungeon groups, for everything that you end up doing.
Your pedal gains some effectiveness from it. Your tank will gain some effectiveness from it in any melee. But at the end of the day, you're going to be, you know, pulling so quick that's not going to matter because you'd rather have the mana than you would the extra attack power, because you might not even get all the shots off to give it its maximum value.
Gotcha. So that's the PvE spec for you. Will that PvE spec remain pretty much the same throughout all the phases? You can rock that tried and true all the way through Sunwell Plateau?
Yeah, except for Lady Vash, you're going to want to drop 3 points in mortal shots and pick up 3 points in the extra range on your attacks for shooting down the bats.
Oh, interesting. And that's over here in Survival, right, Hawkeye?
Yep.
Gotcha. So it sounds good. That's the PvE spec, guys. So I'll try to give you just a basic PvP spec as well, just so you have something to work with, right? So if you're gonna go like BM, I mean, you're going down, you're picking up Bestial Wrath, you're picking up a lot of this stuff. This may seem really good. Cat-like reflexes, increasing your chance to dodge by 3%, your pet's chance to dodge by 9%. The 9% dodge on the pet seems really good, but you kind of just don't have the points for it. There's like better stuff to put it in, so it's actually pretty similar. The one thing is Bestial Swiftness too. Maybe on private servers this doesn't work. At least that was my understanding. On Classic it never worked, and I always see on TBC builds they don't have Bestial Swiftness 1 point. If this works, it seems good for 1 point, man. 30% speed on the pet. I know you have dive or you have dash or whatever, but it seems like
that's only outdoor movement speed. All raids and everything are indoors.
Right, but I'm just like quality of life. You know, just running around the world farming stuff, or you might be in
BG
or
quality of life for running around. Yeah, that'll be good because you figure you're gonna kill something quicker than every 30 seconds, which would be your dive and your dash.
Yeah, and in arena too. I mean, you can roots people, right? And roots is outdoors, so this, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe there's some big brain hunters in here, but if this works in arena, like, I mean, you're taking this, right? Like, this is really nice, the 30% speed. But yeah, arenas may be considered indoors as well. But then again, right, you can entangling roots people and stuff. So,
and you can mount up in arenas too,
right,
which you can only do outdoors.
Right. So I'd pick up this if it works. Aim shot. You'd pick this up if you're a BM build. I mean, it's actually really similar. Your BM PvE build and the PvP build, they're really similar. The things that you would probably switch is you go imp concussive shot. This is super good in Classic. It's going to continue to be good in TBC. It procs all the time. Like, your mentality as a hunter in PvP is something is always concussed, man. Like, concussive is always on cooldown, man. Something is always concussed. So you'd shift some points over there. You probably wouldn't take the... no, you could take this. You run out of mana in Arena. Either way, that would be a BM build. Marks, you'd go down to Silencing Shot. So one thing on Scatter Shot is you don't need to go for a Scatter, Feign Death, Trap combo in TBC, right? Because there's traps in combat. But...
Correct.
You still need to, like, Scatter Trap. You just don't need the Scatter, Feign Death aspect. So... you scatter something, you walk up to it, you drop a trap. That's really your combo. You don't have to wait for that little delay.
Yep. You can also, save your scatter if you're good enough with your trap where you can get it to hit them without having to have them standing perfectly still for you.
Right. Right. And then Silencing Shot, you want to have like a focus target one as well. Just it's a very like time sensitive ability, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Deterrence is pretty good. So if you went Marks, you could definitely see a world where like your remaining points you go down in survival and pick up Deterrence as well. You don't really have any oh shit buttons, a defensive. You have no defensives in Arena other than Deterrence, really. If a rogue or people decide to burst you down in the arena as a hunter, you will die. There's nothing stopping you from dying. You have no ice block, you have no cloak, you have nothing like that. I think you're probably the squishiest class in the entirety of the game in Arena. Unsupported, that is, right? Like, there's... like, your best defensive is probably a frost trap, not even a freezing trap. Like, if you putting down a frost trap and, like, dancing around in it stems the most damage as a hunter. But Deterrence is a little mini defensive that you can use to give you... just make it so you're not a complete wet noodle. Imp Wing Clip is really huge too. Gives it a nice chance to immobilize target 5 seconds. Like, once they're up in melee range, like if a rogue's up on you in melee range, you can pretty much not get them off of you unless you get some major help from your teammates. So you're just spamming all your melee into them with Wing Clip, and then if a Wing Clip procs, then maybe you can get a little bit of distance. It's tough. But yeah, that's a general PvP build. So you'd go Marks down to survival, then splash into this. If you wanted to go survival, you could go down and get readiness as well. For the double wyverns thing, but again, it's more uncommon. Most of the time in PvP, you're going to be a Marks build. Okay, there's one thing in here though that gives you dispel protection. I think on Viper's thing, is it? I'm trying to find it.
It's in the marksman tree.
Marksmanship
and it's improved stings.
Imp stings, thank you so much. Yeah, it's this one right here. Increase the damage done by your serpent sting and wyvern sting by 6% per, and the mana drained by your viper sting by 6%. In addition, reduces the chance your stings will be dispelled by 6%. So if you're going to go for a drain comp, you have to make a choice, right? Whether you want to go mortal shots, right? Isn't this the determination, Leox? Like, you don't have the points for both, right? So mortal shots is huge. Increases your ranged weapon critical strike damage bonus by 30%. That's huge value. So it pains your soul not picking these 5 points. But if you're running a drain comp, you go imp stings for the dispel protection as well as improving the efficacy of your stings. And if you're not going to drain comp or maybe double DPS or something, you would pick up mortal shots. So I think that's it though, boys. We got through a lot. Crix, are we missing anything? Do you have any deficiencies here, you think?
I've been just kicking in the chat the whole time now. I'm asking as we go. Looking good, looking beautiful.
Okay. Leox, do you feel good about this this guide so far? Anything you think the hunter should know going into TBC? I feel like we covered quite a bit.
Don't disappoint the other hunters. Keep that top DPS spot alive. Don't let the warlocks push you down.
Hey! Relax.
Yep. All right. Well, we're gonna put Leox's Twitch. He does stream, and I think he's probably gonna stream a bit more come TBC Classic as well. If you want to follow him, as you can tell, wealth of knowledge. Awesome dude. Let's spam this a bunch of times. Actually, if you could do us a favor, chat, and just throw him a follow real quick. Takes 2 seconds, right? And then it basically just makes it worth his time for coming on here. So thank you very much, guys. If you could just real quick, if you like the content, it takes 2 seconds. Just 2 clicks.
We're trying to talk him into being our hunter for TBC Classic, but we'll see. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. Best PvP profession. Sorry, just to answer you before we go. JC Enchanting. You get the improved gems and you get the enchants on the rings. So those are like really the only professions that'll affect the arena, but it's not like that juicy, the enchanting for hunter, right? Because you would only get +4 stats the rings, which is not like anything to write home to mom about. Maybe the spell power might even be better because you get 12 spell power each, I think, right? But
Actually, on Endless, private servers, what we did was we went weapon damage because it improved your ranged weapon damage as well.
You can go weapon damage on rings?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
It's called striking, and it's from Consortium Exalted, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there it is. There it is. Yeah. Okay, that sounds like the play for sure. Okay. Yo, that's gonna do it, guys. If you followed him, thank you for following him, guys. Appreciate it, man. Crix, let's throw your channel in there too. The VOD will be up on YouTube.
They know where to find me. Don't even worry about it.
Nah, maybe some. You are coming up though rapidly, bro. You'll have to see it. Also, guys, if you're looking for a guild for TBC Classic, we are still recruiting, right, Crix? Or are we full?
Raid spots are full, actually. We're gonna have a third raid team if somebody wants to man. If I could find someone to raid lead it, but as for the first two, yeah. But if you don't want to raid, if you're just sitting there, even if you're not on the main roster, we're gonna cycle. I'm gonna sit. Kargoz will sit. We'll cycle people in. If you want to level, do whatever.
Yeah, love to see it. 2 raid groups filled on a RP PvE server, Bloodsail Buccaneers, man.
Yeah, it's like the guild has like 500 in it on a fucking. It's crazy.
You know what they say though. You always gotta recruit, right? Like apparently that's what.
Over recruit.
Yeah, over recruit. So definitely, if you're looking for it's a backwoods PvE server. It'll be a chill time. We're gonna get kind of sweaty, but at the end of the day, it'll be a PvE server. It'll be pretty chill. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on the next episode of the Dark Portal, and we are going to hand you off to my buddy, old pal, old Sarth. Man, we're gonna host Sarth. Say hi to Sarth for me. He's doing some big brain stuff. Take care, folks, and we'll see you.